Happy Friday. Welcome to the morning show. I'm Tara Thomas.
And I'm Amanda Goodman. Thanks so much for joining us. I immediately go into News Voice.
I know,
Did
and
you see?
I'm
you
realizing
immediately did it.
I have my gum, which is a faux pas in television, so I'm taking that out. Full disclosure, I have a TikTok light that would have brightened us up and given us a little bit of that soft overlay, but I forgot to charge it.
We don't have the... Guess what? It's still better than a lot of the lighting that we had throughout our television careers all across the country. That lighting was very harsh.
For sure.
It was very harsh.
Well, we're excited because this was an endeavor that we thought was worthwhile because we had years, obviously, of scripted television news, and so much of what we do now is unfiltered. So Amanda had the title of the morning show, News You Can Use, and there is a little element of that, but we also like to say what we want to say because we're two very opinionated, washed up former news anchors.
We are extremely washed up. And yesterday, we don't have, our voices are a little, we had a big event yesterday. We had Spark to Fire, Faith in Four-Letter Words, was the featured speaker for Spark to Fire. Spark to Fire was raising money for Family and Children's Council, a child abuse prevention agency in Black Hawk County, Iowa, in which I'm the current executive director. And we had a fantastic day, a fantastic turnout, raised a lot of money for very important child abuse prevention programs. We donated all of our time. That's what people... every penny of the ticket sales went right into the child prevention agencies.
Congratulations on
Thank
an
you.
incredible
We're really
event.
excited about
and
that.
I think the part that's fun is it gave you an opportunity to really explain how you had this unique opportunity with the growth of your social media following post-TV to leverage that platform as a child advocate.
And it's interesting. People will say, very kind, people will say, thank you for being a voice. Thank you. But here's the problem. Not a lot of people like that voice. And the people who don't like the voice sometimes control the money and sometimes the funding. I'm considered too polarizing. I think I'm supposed to still, just sit still and be pretty like my television news days. And when we're talking about the safety of a child, I can't be delicate. I can't be kind. I can't be quiet. So it was nice to finally kind of really peel back the layers of the onion yesterday and let people know this is actually the reality. We're getting punished just because.
And I think a big difference that people may not fully grasp is when you're leading a nonprofit, especially in small town Iowa, you traditionally would not be a social media influencer. So what makes her situation unique is she has that digital reach that would far exceed the attention a traditional executive director of a nonprofit would be able to garner or harness. And so you have said, and I've always said in concurrence, shame on you if you did not use the influence that this digital platform has afforded you for good. Because what we know is when you get involved, if the child and the family have felt that there has been no recourse and it's a last resort Hail Mary of I'm going to call Amanda Goodman, the fact that she is able to really get some kind of reaction or action to get justice for the family is reflective of the influence that others, who attempted to assist them didn't have. And I think that's the distinction.
Well, I appreciate that. And it's important when you have a platform, some people want to use it to go viral, to be famous. I'm good, right? I've lived a life in the glass fishbowl, you and I both have, for a combined 40 plus years.
It means we're old.
It means we're really old. We're
I'm
seasoned.
Older than you.
She is older than me. Remember, I replaced her. I was, the younger one. I'm kidding.
So just to refresh those of you who may be new to our game, she and I both moved to Iowa to be news anchors, myself in the early 2000s. She followed me in 2013, and we both chose to stay locally because it's been a wonderful place for us to raise a family. If you are watching this live, you may know that this weekend is a huge annual festival that has grown to now an expectation of 40,000 people attending Iowa Irish Fest in downtown Waterloo. So I thought about wearing green this morning, but don't want to date the piece because, we're going to throw this up on our YouTube channel. It is so cool to live in a small town, to us, small town, 68,000 people, and have a festival that is like what you experience in a big city.
It is. It's incredible where people come from all over the country. And for me, it's very comforting, right? We're celebrating Irish heritage And being from the Northeast, I mean, we celebrate cultural there, right? You know, my family is Italian, and then we have, you know, Irish, and we celebrate, you know, I mean, like, we're celebrating all kinds of different cultures with the food and the drink and all the things. And so it's kind of nice. Because in the Midwest, you don't get that a lot, where you're celebrating, you know, different cultures. So that's why I love Irish Fest.
Yeah, so we hope to see you if you're local on the streets of Waterloo this weekend. I will be hanging out there tonight, getting some pictures in my day job of the City of Waterloo Communications Director. So that's always a lot of fun when you can mix like a fun event with your work. We have to talk about the Olympics. That's been on everybody's mind.
So the hot topics for today.
So many stories coming out. I mean, from the opening ceremony that sparked some controversy, Simone Biles comeback, and of course the Algerian-Italian female boxing bout. And so where do we start? That's a lot.
You know, I really want to start, I want to start with Simone Biles, because I don't know if anybody watched her documentary on Netflix. If you have not, I encourage you to do so, because she talks about when she dropped out, when she pulled out of Tokyo, she got the twisties, and basically what she was saying, it's kind of like driving a car and then your brain's forgetting how to drive a car. I mean, think about how scary that is. And so she really details how awful people were on social media. Because it all comes back to social media, doesn't it? The tweets and the posts, and everyone was calling her a quitter. You're no hero. You're ashamed. She walked away to protect her mental health, to protect her brain health, and she was getting criticized for it. She was letting an entire nation down, and she was told that repeatedly. So she took all this time off, and then she came back. And when she came, it's hard to come, but I sat there on my couch with my daughters, and I was literally having this moment, and it was like this, I was crying because I think I had it built up from everything, all the expectations I feel like I have to live up to on obviously a much more minute scale. But she came back and she was literally letting everybody know, listen, I'm going to take a break when necessary. I will come back when I'm ready. Your opinions are not needed here, but thank you. And so she did at one of her tumbling passes on the mat. This is when they were going for Team Gold. And she stepped out of bounds, which is, I guess, you know, an deduction. I don't know, you know, what the actual deduction is. And she did this laugh, like she rolled her eyes at herself. And that moment for me was like, good. It looks good on you. Like she was just like, listen, I know you're going to talk about that. I know what I just did. It doesn't even matter. I'm just that good, right? It was.
I love that. She can laugh at herself.
She can laugh at herself. And that to me was the moment. She was representing so much for our kids. Even adults, but for our kids to say, you know what, when life gets too heavy, it's okay. Walk away, get yourself right, and if you want to come back, you can come back. And you'll always come back stronger.
And I think, full disclosure, many people might not understand sort of the level of achievement. So now she is the most successful female gymnast in the history of our country in terms of the gold medals that she's been awarded. And in addition, some of her acrobatic feats have been so incredibly innovative that they have named some of the moves after her, which is really impressive.
That's what we should do, some anchor tosses. Like, she just did the Tara. Did you see her do the Tara? Like, I think we should just parlay that into our...
But for those who are my age, so the what are we, Gen
X.
Gen X.
Yeah.
I've heard,
I know.
heard so many alphabet soup generation letters. I'm like, what am I again? Okay, the Gen Xers out there, you will appreciate this. It's painful for us to contrast Simone Biles and her comeback with where Mary Lou Retton is today, because she was America's sweetheart in the Olympics when I was growing up, after the ice skater Dorothy Hamill, when I had the Dorothy Hamill bowl cut in first grade. And here's what I'll tell you. She went through a horrible lung disease that aged her tremendously in terms of the impact it had on her health. And so it kind of broke my heart thinking, you know, in a normal circumstance with the Olympics and somebody as successful as Simone, they would have brought Mary Lou in and had her do commentary. And yet I don't even know if she has the stamina to do something.
She doesn't. She went through that bout of like dangerous pneumonia.
She's
very, very lucky to be alive. Sorry, you know, and that's such a cliche, you know, word to say in news. But yeah. So, but it was interesting. One of the gymnasts from last time, the young woman Martinez, she did a phenomenal job, and she actually got choked up.
Oh, I'm sure.
When Simone Biles went out there, and you just see like the Jordan Childs, who I like lean towards her. That's kind of my spirit animal, because she just has that attitude, like, say what you're going to say to me. I don't care. I mean, she just had this swag about her. And for a young woman to be so unapologetically herself, I will always cheer for that. That was just amazing.
Now, it's interesting because there has been some talk that the first female basketball game in the Olympic competition with the women's team from the U.S., that it was one of the lowest rated. And that was a reflection, some have speculated on social media, of not including Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark on that team.
It is true, but we have to understand something. There are some greats on that floor. Caitlin Clark, no doubt, is one of the greatest female basketball players I've ever watched. Not even just female basketball, one of the greatest basketball players I've ever watched. You have to remember, there's Diana Taurasi's out there, who is pretty spectacular. Brianna Stewart. I mean, some of these UConn legends. I mean, that you talk about basketball dynasty. So I think we have a really, really tricky, and I think that's the problem, right? We can celebrate one athlete without putting the other women down. And I think that's where the animosity came, because these women have been playing for years and have been in the league for years. And so when people were saying, Angel and Caitlin, they're going to revitalize, they're going to, jolt it. I think for these other women to play devil's advocate, they were like, wait a minute, we've been here.
Yeah,
we've done this. We've paved the way for you. I think that would be like if any young anchor came up and she was like, I'm going to anchor the news the way that women should. I know I would. I would be like, hold up, sister. Just like take it.
But this is the catch. The catch is it's a business.
It is a business. It is a business.
So, unfortunately, from the viewing public perspective, we think that these are like genuine, like open-minded decisions being made about who to include on a team, when really behind the scenes, a lot of it is what would drive revenue and ratings. And so I think if you're looking at it through that lens, they missed a golden opportunity, not including Caitlin and Angel. But to your point, if you're pure of heart, sincerely choosing who deserves it, you're right. Like, they have to get in line. They haven't paid their dues.
They have to pay their
tough balance.
It's like you and I didn't come out of college and go right to the top, right? We didn't go. Came to a top 50 market. But at that time, we had to go down to market 131. We had to pay our dues as it went up. So I'm not saying, I am one of those people, like, okay, you got to pay your dues a little bit. Like, wait your turn. And, but she is the greatest, right? And it's what's happening. Someone had said, I saw on social media, like, people are just hating on Angel and hating on Caitlin and and they should want them to succeed. It's like, athletes are like people in TV news. We have egos. We all have egos. And for a lot of people, they want to see you do well, but never better than them. And so as long as we need to get to a spot where we're just literally, we just want to see them all do well.
And when it comes to the world of social media, that has added an intense layer of pressure and stress to these athletes, or to anybody in the public eye, that didn't exist even 10 years ago. And I think that's where the mental health piece comes in. Because imagine Mary Lou Retton facing all of the vitriol that a Simone Biles experienced. It would have been on a completely different level, in contrast to what we, didn't have in the 70s and 80s.
Well, and I think, for instance, our television careers would have been a lot shorter if we were introduced to social media long before. Social media was coming out on the tail end. So you and I would get letters, anonymous letters, and telling us how they hated our hair, or, we were fat and they hated our makeup. And then near the tail end, like I would think I'd look really good out there, and I come out and I'm told I look like a cheap, trashy fluzzy, when he was trying to call me a floozy. So it's that instant critic, and everyone's opinion is right. Everyone wants to be heard, because everyone, these online people, they want to go viral by coming off the back of you or somebody else. By
riding
smack.
The coattails. It's a big thing. Social media gives everyone an opportunity to have their 50 minutes of fame, for better or worse. So it does lead to the keyboard trolling.
Yeah.
Well, we are closing out our opening morning show newscast with a promised 15 minutes of hopefully some news you can use and a little bit of entertainment. We're so excited that it's Friday, even us getting up early to do this live, which was a little bit of a flashback to our morning show days. You have now the benefit a soft lens through the iPhone.
Soft lens. I wore glasses because I don't have eyelashes. And I wanted to let everybody know the secret. Like, I have not changed from my news days. Below the waist, I have some flip-flops on. When it's winter, I will be wearing my Uggs. You can count on that.
Keep following Faith in Four-Letter Words every Friday. This is our plan. At least one of us, and hopefully both, can give you a flavor of morning news the way we like to do it. And we hope you make it a great day and weekend with your family and your loved ones.
And take that bucket of water back to the next woman.